Hey guys, Tron here with the next video. Gonna be doing my first one on funneling. It's part of the game where if it goes right, it can really make the whole attack, and if it goes wrong, the attack is pretty much ruined. That kind of goes with queen walks. If you're trying to funnel it like a queen charge, you're trying to funnel a small kill squad. Things walking on you, not going into the base, the attack can be pretty much ruined at that point, and we've all been there. I've been there where queen goes wrong way or bowlers walk and things like that. And I will say it is difficult, and even with the most planning and a lot of practice, it can still go wrong. But let's just talk about some basics. I've drawn up a few things that we see in war. We're going to talk through it. Before we get into that, I just want to start off a little bit with just troop AI and just talk about some things that maybe some people don't think about. So first, when you think about ground troops, we're going to just talk about the king right now, but the same thing works for like a P.E.K.K.A. They're going to travel to the nearest closest building that they can get. So if you think about like this elixir collector and then this elixir collector right here, if you drop the king, let's erase this. On this side of the elixir collector, he's going to path to this one next. But if you dropped him on this side, he's going to path to this one next. So just that angle of placement can really direct which way your king is going to walk. Also, the king doesn't usually, especially if there's like this row of trash buildings, he's not going to usually beat on a wall and go inside. So if you think about like a hog attack on one of those square bases, it's pretty important that the wrecker get through that wall first before you drop the king, because he's probably going to walk around the wall. He's not going to want to beat on the wall. Contrary to that, the queen and bowlers, they can shoot over a wall. So you have to be considerate of that. For instance, if let's say this cannon went down right here, the queen may not necessarily step into the base because she can still reach that archer tower without having to walk over the wall, walk into the wall. So if they can avoid that, sometimes they will do that. Bowlers the same way. They can throw over the wall. I think it's 2 tiles. I'm not sure. You guys can let me know what it is. I know the queen for sure is 4 tiles. So when you think about that, you have to think how far can the queen actually shoot. Keep in mind the eagle does have that 1.5 tile dead space around it. So even if there's a two tile moat, she can't hit it. But you have to think about troop AI and which troops, how you have to path them if they're ground, like a king or a P.E.K.K.A. And then you have your queen and your bowlers that are common for kill squad. They can shoot over wall, so that you have to use them differently. So, all right, we'll talk about the number one easiest way to funnel. So if you have just a nice flat wall here with no trash buildings at all, that is by far the number one easiest way to head in. So you'll probably drop, maybe if you're using some sort of tank, you'll drop your golem or giants first, and then you'll drop the wrecker. And we'll always say that the town hall is on the opposite side of this flat wall, just for purposes here. You can obviously do this on an angle. I've done it before. You just have to change your position a little bit, but make sure you know where the town hall is. If I would do, I would drop the wrecker right here between those 2 cannons, or right here between this cannon and that archer tower. So hopefully it doesn't get caught up and maybe take out this cannon. If you drop it in the center and it takes out that cannon, the queen may just target this archer tower and then maybe walk over here and grab that elixir collector and not necessarily walk into the base. And so when you think about funneling, it's always outside in. So you want to try and get the outside buildings first and leave the inside building in. So you may even drop, if there's, let's say there's nothing over here, you drop the queen maybe catty corner over here, because then she's going to take that cannon out, this cannon out, and then if this section of wall is open, she'll be more inclined to step into the base to take out that archer tower instead of walking around the base. So that is by far, if you have an area where you can come in, flat wall, number one easiest. Oops, sorry. So let's go over here. It's the same, but we have a flat wall, but now we have a row of elixir collectors. So we have a bunch of trash buildings. And then we also have this, my pen is messing up right now. We also have this cannon right here. So if you think about funneling, you want to do what you want to build your funnel with as least troop space as possible. But also don't get caught in the situation where you went cheap on your funnel and then you ruined your attack. So if you think about E-Dragons, there's maybe only a couple situations you want to use those because those are 30 troop space. When you use baby dragons, if it's a first attack, you usually need to bring a test loon for seeking those black air moms. So that could be 15 on one side. If you already know there's no black air moms, that's 10. I'm not a big fan of the P.E.K.K.A funnel. I don't think you get, it's 25 troop space, and I think an E-Dragon gets way more value, and it's only 5 more. But you might also be able to get it with maybe 2 giants and a couple wizards. So when you're thinking about using baby dragons versus that, you have to think about air defense placement. Will the air defense get my baby dragon? Do I have a gold storage where I really need the high DPS of a baby dragon? If I take a long time building my funnel, will I do a time fail? So those are things that you have to think about. Maybe I can just use a couple loons. So when we talk about funneling inside, outside, in, very clear, outside, in, if you think about this, let's say I want to funnel in right here. The very first trash buildings that I want to take down are this one and this one. You don't want to take down this one and this one first, because then if you do that, everything walks this way. So when you think about outside in, you think about what is the first, what's the barrier that I need so that things don't walk, and I take those down first. So if I was doing attack, I'd probably drop a loon right here because it's going to target that, and then a baby dragon. Baby dragon, I'd drop it right here. It's going to work through and clear this area out. If you dropped a golem here and then a wrecker, you could probably just drop maybe a wizard 2 on that elixir collector. That'll take it down. And then you could possibly drop the king right here, and then he'll walk into the base because that cannon is going to be the next closest thing. Same thing with your queen bowlers and ward and thing like that. So it's always, always outside in. You just think about how much space do I need. So let's get a little bit harder. So a lot of things that some attackers like to do is indented corners. If you have an indented corner, so see how this is an out corner right here, and then this is an indented corner here with a gold storage. I've noticed that the queen tends to like high DPS buildings, so a gold storage might attract her a little bit more than an elixir collector. I don't know if anybody's had the same experience. I kind of think that. So if you think about maybe a queen walk, and you drop a queen right here, she's going to target this gold storage, then this elixir collector, and then she's going to probably get drawn over to that elixir storage, then the cannon, and maybe walk this way instead of that way. These storages can be very hard to take down. They're higher DPS. So you have to think about funneling that as well. Usually the baby dragons are going to be a good investment. But then again, if you have an air defense like right here, a baby dragon isn't going to work. And that might be where you need to do the investment of 2 giants or 2 wizards. So I'm going to do a little bit more advance on that indented corner. But indented corners can be very tricky, especially if there are only 2 buildings here. There's not a lot. Once your troops target that gold, those storages are still left up, that can really cause everything to walk. So if you're committed to doing a funnel there, usually you need to get those down. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, about levels into the base on these next 2 examples. Here's one. Pretend the town hall is over here. Again, remember that. So think about coming in here and you want to punch into that expo compartment. If you send your wall wrecker in right here, and then this wizard tower is the next building behind that expo, and your troops and your queen targets this expo right here, the queen is not going to target that wiz tower. I'm telling you that right now. The queen is going to walk out and target this archer tower because it is closer. You can tell it is 2 tiles closer to the edge of the base than the wizard tower. This type of compartment you do not want to funnel into. It is very difficult. Even if you get this building down and this building down, I'm telling you that the queen will target the archer towers next. I'm not really this video is not to explain to funnel in there. I'm just showing you things that you need to look at that are going to make very tough funnels. When you see you have defenses here, and then if you funnel into the compartment and there's not something right next to it, right behind the first level of defenses that you can target, that's very difficult. That's what I'm going to illustrate the same thing right here, where some attackers are setting their buildings 2 tiles back into the compartment versus 1. Um, that 1 tile difference can make a large difference. So if you think about funneling, and I kind of set this trash building up here, if you think about the wall wrecker coming through, and then your queen takes out this archer tower and this wizard tower, what's going to be closer, this archer tower or this gold storage? This gold storage is actually closer. You can tell by the 1 tile. And that can really pull a funnel, especially on a very narrow compartment like this. One thing that I'm like doing, let's say you had a compartment that was real narrow like this and an indented corner. An E-Dragon can be very, very effective at clearing all of this trash building out here. And let's just pretend for the sake of argument there was an indented corner, right here like that. And there was maybe an archer tower and air defense in there. An E-Dragon can be very, very effective at clearing all of that out, and then using maybe a baby dragon or a wizard on this side to get these trash buildings out. That'll build a very, very nice funnel. And with the wall wrecker, your queen or your kill squad, it's going to have a much easier time pathing all the way into the base. Okay, last thing I'm going to look at is this little thing, last thing I put in here. This is probably one of the hardest things that I think it is to funnel, is where you have this stair step. And again, we're pretending the town hall is on the opposite side. That's very, very difficult. I'm not going to show how to funnel into that unless you absolutely can't avoid it. It's just, I will tell you, it's very hard to predict where the bowlers are all going to end up. It's very difficult. It's not the best way to funnel, or not your best entry point. If you drop the wall wrecker here, a lot of times maybe the bowlers will come down here. It's just the nature of this construction. This is a very difficult funnel. The second thing I wanted to show you is an army camp. If you ever see an army camp, that's usually a great place to start a funnel, because it's 5 tiles wide versus 3 tiles for like a gold mine or something like that. 5 tiles, and then you have usually maybe some space on either side of the army camps. That can give you about 7 tiles of funnel. If you have 2 army camps, those are really, really great ways to build a funnel, because if you do take this army camp right out here and then maybe you drop your king right here, he's just going to path this way, and that really helps you build very good funnel. So you want to see, how can you use weaknesses in the base, like positions of army camps, in order to build a funnel for your troops. I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully it helped. Let me know in the comments what you think. Get out there and practice a little bit. You'll see a lot of these types of designs in your friends, in the friendly challenges that you're going to do. My next video will probably be a little bit, we'll actually see some replays. We'll talk through a couple of the designs here and why it worked. But until next time, this is Tron, and good luck out there.